Hi everyone and welcome to a new episode, and in this week's episode we have a real mix of very different movies, like a very different movies. But yeah, and also look at Butler and his new head accessory, because next month here in Sweden we do celebrate midsummer. So I mean he has to be ready and get real pretty for midsummer. So I gave him like a nice little thing that we wear during midsummer. Okay, so in this episode and the first review, I will start with reviewing the movie Immaculate. Immaculate. It's from 2024. It's directed by Michael Moen. It's starring Sydney Sweeney, Alvaro Morte, Simona Tabasco, and Benedetta Porcaroli. Yes. I don't know why I'm trying to say it in like Italian accent, but that just like rolled. Well, that is what came out of my mouth. So yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I mean, this movie has been talked about a lot. Not only because of its third act, but also because we got The First Omen, which is also a nun horror film. So this might be the year of the nuns. Yeah. Like The First Omen versus Immaculate. Who will win? But yeah, I mean, I can see some similarities between them, and they do bring up, a lot of similar topics and critiquing some of the similar things. But yeah, in this one, we have this young woman played by Sydney Sweeney. She's called Cecilia. So she goes to Italy to take her vows and to, find the reason for her being alive. Yeah, because she says, God, saved me because of a reason, and I'm just trying to find out what that reason is. So she's there trying to find, her place in the world, taking her vows, and then she kind of stumbles upon that convent's dirty little secret, so to speak. Yeah, so I mean, I saw a preview of this thanks to Monsters of Film, and I talked about Monsters of Film in my latest video, the video before this one. So if you haven't seen that one, please check it out. The movies were amazing, and I did post a few clips from the festival, so do check it out. Leave a comment, like, don't forget to subscribe. But yeah, so I heard a lot about this film, especially from like people who were critiquing the film in the US, saying that it's, it's blasphemy, it's disgusting, the third act is gross, like blah blah blah. Like the perfect things to say to promote a film. Like when I heard those things, I was like, now I have to watch the film. Like now I want to watch the film. Like how can I not with reviews like those? So I saw the film, and I have to say it, Sydney Sweeney, what an amazing actress. I know her from Euphoria and from White Lotus season 1. But in this one, she just really shines. In this one, she has a lot of range. She's not just, the crying girl, which she usually is in Euphoria. But in this one, yeah, she just played her part so wonderfully. And she did everything, emotionally, physically, and she put everything into her character, and I was very impressed. So I'm hoping to see her in more horror films from now on. That would be so much fun. And she was also one of the producers for this film. Yeah, because I read that she had auditioned for this film in 2014, so 10 years ago. Nothing became of that project, so now 10 years later, she kind of went to talk to the writer. They rewrote some stuff. She got in contact with people that could finance the movie, actors, and she just produced the film. Yeah, she was one of the producers. So I mean, very smart move, clever girl. And yeah, if I had that opportunity, I would definitely do the same. So props to you, Sydney, for bringing this film to life, so to speak. Sydney's not the only person that did a really good job. I think everyone kind of play their parts as they should, but just Sydney is just, she just shines a little bit more. Yeah, I do really love the story, so I can understand that they were rewriting some stuff because of that 10-year-old script, probably. Uh, but yeah, I have to say, I'm very impressed because this story, you know, it has 3 acts, but it is also like kind of, uh, it says like act one, but in other words, and I don't want to spoil how, because that will spoil the big thing about this film. But the way that they did that to indicate that this is a new act was very clever. I really, and I also like the font which they used to write this. It felt kind of cozy. Oh, I have some cat hair on my microphone here. You know, just ignore that. But I mean, the story impressed me. The editing, little small twists and turns, really love that. And then we come, you know, we saw what we were here for, the third act. And the third act was just, it kind of blew me away. It was quite gory, quite rampagey, it was everything that I asked for when I started watching this film. I'm like, yeah, you know, the third act, hopefully it will, you know, go off. And it did. And I'm really super happy with that. And I also loved the music. The music in this one, just as in the first Omen, fantastic. I don't know why, but I love the kind of creepy, like church music. When you only hear like voices, you know, I can't sing, so I'm not going to try and mimic, especially that, because that is like beautiful. But I don't know why I'm drawn to that. But I really, really like the music. When you put it in like horror films, it becomes so creepy, and I love that. Also, you know, when you do violins and stuff and put it in horror films, it also becomes creepy. So really like that. And the music just enhanced everything, especially all the characters, because there were a lot of scenes we just saw Sydney being surrounded with like characters, and with this music, it just enhanced like people's motivations and what you might think of a character, and just made kind of Sydney feel more alienated, even though when she was in a group of people surrounding her. But yeah, the music is just amazing. If you're thinking about watching Immaculate, but you don't really know yet, then I mean, please do. And I would watch it at the cinema, especially with that music and just that imagery. There were a lot of, you know, gorgeous shots, and the cinematography was really good. You know, very well thought through. And yeah, there was just like the scene where Sydney's running through a field. That was quite gorgeous in her gown. I really, really like that. And I also just loved the very, very end. I loved how this film ended. Thought that was a really good and just kind of really effective ending. Thought that this was kind of perfect way to end this film. And I'm so happy it ended that way. So, what will this movie get? I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. So an 8 out of 10 for Immaculate. So yeah, I was impressed. I recommend everyone to watch the film. But yeah, let's move on to review number 2. Okay, so the film number 2, as I said, it's a very different mix of movies in this episode. So this is a kind of creature feature. So I'm reviewing Attack of the Sabretooth. Yeah, it's from 2005. It's directed by George Miller. Yeah, not that George Miller, but a George Miller. Yeah, it's starring Robert Carradine, Nicholas Bell, Brian Wimmer, and Perry Shen, among a lot of people. So, there are a few Sabretooth movies, but this is the one from 2005, which has been dubbed as having one of the most horrible CGI effects ever in a movie. So I mean, it's won something. But yeah, so in this one we have the characters are in Fiji Islands. They are at this place. I'm sorry, I have to read it. They called the Valalula Resort. Primal Park. So, the owner of the Valalula, sorry, I can't say that without laughing. Valalula! The owner of this Primal Park, he is trying to find, like, he's hosting like a party for investors. He's trying to find these investors for his discoveries. Yes, so he's hosting this party, hoping that someone will be interested, pay him a lot of money. But at the same time, we have this bunch of college kids or young women and men who are thieves, and they kind of break into that hotel and zoo and kind of lock down the security system and security breach and the electric system. And they just so happen to open up all the gates and security for the Sabretooth tigers that are there. They are like genetically modified. They basically brought back the old Sabretooth. And now they are loose and they start killing people. So, I've seen this movie twice now. I was recently with my friend David, as you've seen, and Yuke and Andres. And we were just chilling in my place, we're gonna watch some movies, and they was like, can't we just rewatch that Sabretooth movies? Because Andres and Yuke had not seen it. So I was like, sure. I hadn't seen it in a few years. I didn't really remember anything. I'm like, how bad can it be? So we started watching this, and I'm like, now I remember. Everything just came back to me. And yeah, the effects are quite horrible. Like, there are certain scenes where there are some practical effects and some good effects. Like, I wouldn't say really good, but if we compare to the bad CGI that pops up in the film later, yeah, then it's good. That looks all right. Looks all right. But the Sabretooth itself, nah. I mean, no, that was not even, it's not even that bad, and it's funny, it's just bad. It just made me feel sad for all the Sabretooths in this one, like really sad. I was like, that's some sad CGI. It's not even funny, it's just sad. Some of that scenes are like alright, most of them just feel, so CGI-ish and also very sad, just like this could have been more creative for sure. Felt like everyone kind of died in the same manner. Almost. I'm saying almost because I'm coming to that bad CGI moment. So okay, let's go to the bad CGI moment. There's just a character that dies in a very specific and particular way that is just so absurd. Plus, that bad CGI thing that happens is just ridiculous. And you're like, wow, this scene should win like awards for the most horrible, awful, or best death ever. But when I say best, it's not that it's good, it's just so ridiculous. And how it looks, yeah. Just for that scene, this movie is worth watching like once. And I've seen it twice now. So, and I completely forgot about that scene. So it was just like watching it all over anew again. And so, I was happy rewatching that scene. And then we have the characters. I mean, the characters are not really that well written at all. This is the mid 2005. We have, of course they have a goth girl in there just because that was the peak of having a goth girl in horror films. And I say goth girl quite lightly because they wrote what they think a goth girl is, which was just, what is this? And then they have, that smart guy, and we have the nerdy girl, we have the alpha type guy. Yeah, I mean, these characters were just, not very well thought through or well written. And it's not that, I mean, if this would have been like more humor in it, like a parody or just a horror comedy, then that would have worked. They could have played with those stereotypes in a fun way. But yeah, unfortunately, this isn't it. Like, I think if the movie would have been funnier, a horror comedy, just amp up everything, make it just so bad that it's funny, then this movie would have been quite amazing. And I think more people would be talking about this film. Because I don't really hear anyone talking about it. So, yeah, because it's not a really good film, probably. Some of the dialogue is quite bad also. And I mean, almost every scene is very, very predictable. And it was so weird because in the beginning someone kind of died at a specific place, and then people kept coming like one by one to that specific place and also getting killed. And we're like, so are these people just going to go there one by one and being killed in the exact same spot? And that was quite hilarious. I don't know if that was intentional or if that was, we only have this place to film this for this week or something, or these few days. We have to make the most use of it. Everyone dies here, one by one. Yeah, so that was also quite hilarious. Maybe in an unintentional way. Yeah. I said, is this movie memorable? Except for that one CGI scene, then I would say like, not really. Is it fun? It was an evening, if you're with your friends, maybe you have, drink something. You drink some Coke or Pepsi or something stronger, whatever you want to drink. Then this movie would definitely be fun in a group of people, but maybe not if you're alone. But do as you wish. Do as you wish. So, what will this movie get for me? I'm giving this one a 4 out of 10. A 4 out of 10. I have fun watching it with my group of people, but it's not really a good film. It's not even that bad that it's so hilarious. It's just, but for that bad CGI scene, it gets a 4. At least it did that. Yes. Okay, I think we should move on to review number 3. Okay, so review number 3, the third and final movie in this episode, is very, very different from the first two. It is also a creature feature type of film, but it's not a horror film. It is Mousehunt. Yes, from 1997. It's directed by Gore Verbinski. He has done some horror films though. Starring Nathan Lane, Lee Evans, Vicki Lewis, Manny Shakin, Eric Christmas, and Christopher Walken. So in this one we have these two brothers, Ernie and Lars Smuntz. And they inherit a house because their dad dies. So they inherit this house, which they are trying to restore to sell for a profit. But they don't know that this house comes with a mouse. And they are trying to do everything to get rid of that mouse, but nothing seems to be working. Yeah. It's like the basic plot of Mousehunt. I saw this movie for the first time when I lived in Prague, like a few years ago. It was hilarious. And then I just rewatched it with my group, David, Andres, and Yuke. And David had seen it before, and we just love this film. So we were watching it, and this movie is so hilarious. I mean, that mouse, that is one smart mouse. It is basically like Home Alone, but with a mouse. Yeah, there are so many hilarious things happening, and these brothers, Ernie and Lars, everything that can go bad just goes bad. Yeah, it's that type of a film. So it is kind of stressful watching this film because everything is just, nothing can go right. But it's also just, I had so much fun watching this because of the mouse, because of, especially like the dialogue is hilarious in this one. As I said, Christopher Walken is in this one, and he plays a very specific character. He is someone who deals with like pests and insects and removes them, but will he be able to remove this mouse? So there, as I said, there are a lot of hilarious scenes with the mouse. We have like one scene where these brothers, they covered the entire room with mouse traps, just to make sure that the mouse gets killed. Because if one goes off, every trap goes off, and yeah. And I read that they used 800 traps in this one, and they, that's not CGI or anything. That's a real effect. So they reshot this scene a few times. They did a few takes. So each of the traps had to be reset manually, and the cheese or olive had to be put in, and then had to be strung up. Yeah, 800 by hand. So I mean, that scene, it took a while to film that, to get the right take. But yeah, that just shows the dedication that the filmmakers had into making this, as good as possible. I think the brothers are, played wonderfully by Nathan Lane and Lee Evans. They both did an amazing job. So funny, especially like the way they can express things with their face and body. Like the bodily humor is just amazing. Like there's one scene where Lee Evans, because they own like a string factory, strings, strings. He's in the factory, and then accidentally one of the strings from his clothes gets stuck in the machine, and then it begins eating, his clothes, and more gets stuck. And I'm like, how does this even happen? But just his physical humor in that scene is just so much fun to watch. Also, there are some serious layers to this film. Of course, the humorous ones are more prominent, but then we have the serious things kind of shine through, like the relationship with the brothers and their dad, kind of other things. But most and foremost, this is a comedy, so the comedy is the thing that kind of shines through. And also, I just love the mouse in this one. I also read that some of the close-up on the mouse is actually played by a rat. So the mouse had a body double played by a rat. Yeah, I mean, even the mouse had a body double in this one. That is one, that mouse is a star. Just funny running gag of their father. It's a big portrait, like hand-painted portrait of the father that changes expressions depending on what the brothers are up to. That was so hilarious, because also the expressions were very hilarious. Even when it was like mad or like happy, it was just funny. I love when movies have a kind of running gag that runs throughout the entire film. I think that is quite hilarious and genius. But yeah, I mean, I just really like the script and the humor. It is kind of my humor. I find it really funny. The actors were really good. And yeah, I can't wait to rewatch this film. Definitely watch this film when you're in a group of people. You will laugh your asses off. And yeah. So how many mouse traps will Mousehunt get? I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. Yeah. So an 8 out of 10. I mean, this episode had a real mix of movies. Like from creepy nuns to bad CGI Sabretooths to a good CGI mouse and real mouse. Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching this episode. Hope you really like this episode. Don't forget to give this episode a like, and also to subscribe to my channel. It helps me a lot, so thank you so much. And also, you can leave a little mouse comment. Yes, leave a mouse or a rat. And I'll see you the next time. Bye!